So the first question is, Colin Campbell 886 asks, what is your biggest regret in life?
Colin, thanks for the question. I've got no regrets. Really, no regrets. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of things wrong. I've hurt a lot of people, and I don't like the person I was, but I love who I am now. I'm congruent and I love people, and I wouldn't be who I am today without all of those mistakes. So I think regret is a mistake. I think it's good to acknowledge where you've gone wrong. It's good to redress it, and then it's good not to do that again. But I don't think regrets serve us.
The interpersonal skills coach asks, do you think it is possible to lose fear without physically confronting the object of it?
That's a good question. Yes, yeah, because it doesn't exist outside. Fear is a perception, all of it's a perception, it's a concept. If you're able to bring something to a place of denotation, so you take the labels off it, you don't necessarily have to confront it. All you have to do is go inside. So there's no sense of external fear. There's only an internal thing. So with my stuff, it was always about just going in. Now I've spent a lot of time confronting things and overcoming them. So it might sound like I'm contradicting myself, because that is a method and it does work. The ultimate method is to do nothing. And when I say do nothing, I mean that when the fear rises up, we observe it, we witness it, but we don't identify with it, and we don't engage it. So we just observe it as a feeling. When you observe it as a feeling and you don't engage it, then the label of the energy will dissipate, and then the fear itself will dissipate. For me personally, I've gone out and I've confronted things in order to overcome them. But as I've got more into the metaphysical side of it, I've just allowed passions to come towards me, and I'll just be the witness of them. It's a very difficult thing to do. When they say do nothing, it's the ultimate technique. There's a lot of wisdom in doing nothing, and there's a lot of presumed knowledge in doing nothing. We have to have an eye wall, we have to be able to sit in the centre, we have to have the courage to sit and do nothing. But if I'd have sat and done nothing from the very beginning in my front room at home, when I was assailed by depression, the fears would eventually have disappeared. But I didn't know that then. I didn't know those skills. I didn't understand that technique. So I had to go out and treat these fears as though they were real. When I intercourse with them, when I absorbed 99% of them, they dissipated. Later on I learned that the technique I use now is to do nothing.
Mert Love, but the L is a 1. Mert Love asks, Geoff, how do I expand my conscious net?
The best way to expand your conscious net is, the most direct route is through meditation. If you find stillness and silence, consciousness automatically expands in that space. And consciousness just means awareness. So if you imagine that everything is already there, it already exists. Everything already exists. We're just not aware of it. We're looking at it through blinkers. Silence and stillness just allows the blinkers to disappear. So we expand our conscious net specifically through meditation. But we can also expand our conscious net by reducing our egoic footprint. So when we start to reduce the ego, we make more room for consciousness, because the ego sees everything through the blinkers of fear. So as we start to reduce the ego and make ourselves small, we will expand. So we expand through contraction, but we also contract through expansion. So when we sit and meditate, the ego finds this space inhospitable, and the ego will be shrank in that space. So meditation is the most direct route.
Plogo999 asks, what is your current relationship with violence?
I haven't got a relationship with violence, none at all. I don't allow it into my body. It's an abomination. So it rises, sometimes it approaches, sometimes I'll feel those negative emotions, but the moment they rise up, I've got a strong enough eye wall to be able to sit and observe them and witness them without engaging them. That is the technique. And if you want to book on that, If you want a book on practicing that, Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, is probably the best book in the world for that technique at this moment. So I have no relationship with violence. I have no relationship with any form of pornography or any form of excess.
Unique Awakening asks, how do I stop self-sabotaging? I've read all your work and feel it's truth but still no action.
Yeah, it's about asking yourself, who is it that's not acting? Who is it that's self-sabotaging? That's the question. Not why am I self-sabotaging, who is self-sabotaging? So if you was overeating, I wouldn't say to you, what are you eating? I would say, what are you feeding? So the part of you that doesn't take action is the false part of you. So you've got to recognise the part of you that doesn't want to take action as the false ego. So it's not you, it's a shadow. So what we have to do is when we go to do something, say we want to go and start writing a book, and we feel the opposition and it wants to self-sabotage us, we observe that, we witness it, but we don't identify with it, we don't engage it, we're just aware of the feelings and we sit down and do the work anyway. So you have to put your will between the negative and positive, between the will to act and the desire to not act. So there's two forces at play there. You put your soul or your will, which is an attribute of the soul, between those two things and make yourself do it, and there'll be no self-sabotaging. We're only self-sabotaging because we engage the part of us or the energy that wants to self-sabotage. So the whole idea of doing something, so if I want to write a book, really I'm writing a book to see who I am and to see who I'm not. The moment I head towards my goals, I will see all of my invisible saboteurs will appear and put obstacles in my way. You don't often see the obstacles until you go towards the goal. So the idea is to place yourself as a conductor between the two energies and sit down, and no matter how painful or uncomfortable it is, do the work. Once you've achieved it once you've got it done once, you'll be able to do it again and again and again. So my question to you is not, why am I self-sabotaging? The question is, who is it that's self-sabotaging? And that's not the I, that's you, that's not the true I. So you could ask yourself, who am I? Just keep asking yourself that question.